In this video, we're going to focus on another 20-point question for the History of Rounders exam. We're going to look at explain the reasons why people first created your site within its surroundings. Use physical features of the site as well as your own knowledge to support your answer. So let's highlight some of the key words and then we're going to dissect it. So we're looking at explain. We know explain will revolve around certain use of language, particularly connectives. We're going to look at reasons, people, created, and surroundings. So let's dissect some of those. So as already mentioned, we've just talked about explain. We know we're going to need to be using the language of explanation, which revolves around connectives. As a result of this led to this meant. So I've highlighted reasons because this we're looking at the different factors that were involved. Then we've got people. So because this is about why it was first created, we know this is going to revolve around Edmund Dennison. We've got created there. So when I say created, we're thinking about why did it start? Question mark. And then surroundings, I'm going to put location, brackets, Hexthorpe. So explain the reasons why people first created your site. So this isn't just about why it was created, it's also about within its surroundings, essentially the location that it's in. And we know we need to use physical features of the site as well as your own knowledge. Okay, so let's have a look at how I would go about answering this. We've got the overview here. We'll recap the question again. So we'll just zoom in. As just highlighted, we've dissected the words. We're focusing on explaining the different reasons why people first created, and by people we're talking about Edmund Dennison, your site within its surroundings. So by that we mean Hexthorpe. We've got a clinching argument here, and the clinching argument is essentially the main key points that run throughout this answer. And ultimately it is a combination of different factors that explain this, a combination of different factors, including the geographical positioning of Doncaster, essentially where it is in the country, the availability of coal, because it was the ideal type to burn in steam engines, the context of the Industrial Revolution, and we'll look at that shortly, and the determination of Sir Edmund Dennison. So that highlights a lot of the different points here that we've just dissected in the exam question itself. Now, I'm going to jump straight away to smacking the examiner in the face because that essentially is how I would start this answer also. I would start the answer by going straight into outlining what my clinching argument is. Okay, so let's have a look at the different factors. I'm going to go straight onto these 4 different factors here. So we've got the geographical position, as mentioned in our clinching argument, the availability of coal, the context of the Industrial Revolution, and of course the role of Sir Edmund Dennison. So let's zoom in and look at the geographical positioning. So as you can see here, this revolves around, as we've described this before, the journey from York to London was long and arduous, because if you remember, if we just look here, the journey to York, you would have to get on a train to York, then you go down here, you get off at Derby, and then you'd have to get another train to Rugby, and then essentially then you could get to London, and that was a long journey because it was 3 different trains. However, for this, we know that the government wanted to create a new Great Northern Railway that would run essentially from York to London. And if we look carefully there's Doncaster, and the line would go through it. So essentially, why the site was established in its surroundings is because Doncaster was on the route from York to London. Moving on from that, we can see that when we look at the availability of coal, as mentioned previously, the quality of coal in Doncaster was ideal for steam engines. It was actually of a better quality for burning in a steam engine than, for instance, Barnsley. So the quality of coal was ideal. And here we've got Doncaster. And as highlighted on the video tutorial, we can see here that we've got lots of different coal mines in the area. So all these different places here, they are coal mines. So Doncaster had an abundance of that coal. Again, this is another factor that goes some way to explaining why it was based in the site. Moving on from that, let's look at the context of the Industrial Revolution itself. We've said on a number of occasions that the British history the events within British history are inextricably linked to that of the Doncaster Plant Works site. We know that this was a period of transformational change. We know that there was rapid growth in the rail industry. And without that rapid growth in the rail industry, and without this period of considerable and transformational change where we had factories and chimneys and all the rest of it, the site would never have come to Doncaster in the first place. So we must include that context of the Industrial Revolution. And then, of course, we have got the pivotal figure of Sir Edmund Dennison. And this pivotal figure, here we can see him, Sir Edmund Dennison. He was actually the chairman of the Great Northern Railway Company. So this pivotal figure, he is a figure of influence. And we know that he showed great determination to get the Doncaster Plant Works into Doncaster, because he's the one who argued that Doncaster's access to coal and its geographical positioning made it an ideal location for the site to be put in Doncaster. I just want to finish by looking at the keywords. We need to include, of course, these keywords of geographical, coal, industrial revolution, wider historical context, location and railway, and economically driven. Remember, this is an important one because that is telling us about the motivation of why the site was established. It wasn't about improving working conditions, wasn't about improving the standards in which people live. This was about making money and prospering. For the mark scheme, full marks equals those 4 well-developed paragraphs and any references to second-order concepts such as significance, causation, change, etc. We know that this is an extended piece of writing, so connectives need to be littered throughout. Things like this meant that. As a result of this led to, and consequently, this is our bread and butter when explaining something. And there's a health warning with regards to this. This isn't just about reasons for the Doncaster Plant Works itself, it's also about within its surroundings. So we need to remember that. So that essentially is how I would go about answering this question.